All right. Well, welcome to Site Leaders Connect Insight Interviews. This is episode 1. We are here with Dr. Jen Francone, and we are so grateful that you are here to share some quick insight with us. Jen, can you please introduce yourself and tell us why you chose to be an educational leader?
Great, sure, thank you. So as Catherine said, my name is Jen, and I am currently the Administrator for Educational Resource Services at Tulare County Office of Education. Prior to that, I've been a site coach, I've been a district coach, I've been a site leader, and of course a teacher as well. This is my 21st year in education. So I have a lot of varied type of leadership experiences in that. But this year actually is a new adventure for me as I am the leader of a department in TCOE. So I think I've had a huge learning curve and I've learned a lot about leadership, and I continue to learn a lot about leadership. So hopefully I have something that I can share with you guys. The reason I chose to be an educational leader, actually, it's kind of funny, actually. And I'll give you the short version of why. I actually accidentally became a teacher. I hadn't intended on being a teacher. And the way it ended up, I was going to be an engineer. And the way it ended up is that I decided I liked learning so much that I just wanted to do more and more of that. And then I found through being a teacher, working with students and working with other teachers and other educators, that I really found a lot of, passion and interest in supporting other people in learning themselves. Not that I was supporting them by giving them all this knowledge, but helping them be learners and understand more about themselves and more about the topics that they're doing. So educational leadership actually became like the perfect little path for me, because I feel like I get to do that every day.
Excellent. Thank you. So I feel you certainly that story helps exemplify. Michael Fullen talks a lot about being a lead learner as an educational leader, and sounds like that was kind of what that desire led you to this path. So that's excellent. Well, Jen, could you share some insight you have gained that may be beneficial to others?
Sure. Gosh, there are so many different types of insights. So I'm just going to hone in on just one, because otherwise this would take forever. But one thing that I've really been experimenting with this year is really trying to learn and understand the systems that we work in. And when I say systems, I'm talking about system that we control, but also the systems that we intersect with as well, perhaps ones that we don't control. And what I've just learned from being a leader and continue to learn is how I can support the people that I lead. To me, that's really important, and that doesn't sound earth-shattering, because I'm sure you're watching and saying, of course we support the people we work with. But I think the challenging part is knowing how do we support the people that we work with. There are surface level ways to support people, and then there are really deep ways that we can support people. So that's kind of been my piece, is if I really want to support people to do the work that they want to do, how do I do that besides just giving them the time and space? But there's more to it than that. Maybe coaching, maybe getting to understand what makes them tick, getting to know them better, and really trying to empathize with them in the situation that they're in as well. So I actually am kind of, as I look through understanding how to be supportive, I think probably the biggest piece right now for me is how do I empower people to do what they're going to do? And part of that is I don't want to micromanage things and be the one who owns everything. I really want people that I work with to be empowered to make things happen. And so that's a little bit of release of control. And it also means I have to learn a lot, because I'm not going to be the kind of leader who just tells everybody everything they need to know. I don't feel like I know everything, but I do feel like I can learn a lot with people. So some of the things that my team has been working on is how to work together as a team. And again, another total cliche kind of thing, but working as a team is not an easy concept. And I think there are so many different facets that we have to understand in order to help people to be team players and to produce in a way that propels everybody forward. So I don't know, Catherine, I'll tell them about the work that we're doing. Catherine is on my team, actually, so she can attest to some of the things that I'm mentioning. So right now, one of the things we're working on is a book study. And I forgot to bring the book with me, but maybe you can throw the name of the book up. It's called Conversational Capacity. And really what it is about is how do we communicate with each other in ways that helps our team move through and excel together. The concept of all of us can learn better together. Many of us, I think we get involved in our work so much that we get used to doing it on our own, that we forget that we have a team there that can help us and that we can learn with. But we also need to make sure that we can communicate well together. So anyway, as we're reading through this book, which I highly recommend, I decided to have everybody, as they're reading the book, because we don't meet together regularly like a book club, I assigned it, I gave them 2 months to read it, and then we're going to talk about it at the end. So right now what we're working on is we have a hashtag just for our organization to kind of tweet out some things that we're understanding and learning as we read. And then I also challenged them to do some book snaps with that as well. And if you're not familiar with book snaps, if you just go to hashtag book snaps and Google that, you'll find tons of things about book snaps. Kids use them and we're using them as adults too. But it's just a way for us to learn virtually together because we're not always together in the same place. We don't have a lot of meetings together. So to be able to learn through these tweets, at least for me, it has been very valuable. Of course, I started with some of the tweets, but now I'm seeing some tweets and book snaps coming through too that just make me smile because I see the different perspectives that people have as they read this book about teamwork. So.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks, Jen. So many nuggets of wisdom in what you said. One thing I heard at the beginning of your insight was talking about empower your team and getting to know, if I can kind of rephrase a bit, what they're passionate about, and that might not always be, and not wanting to micromanage them. And I remember you calling all of us in and asking us some specific. Do you remember what questions those were? Because I thought that was a great way to, when you're going into a new position as a new leader. Mm-hmm. That was a great way to get to know us. And I felt affirmed as a team member. And then it was easier for you as a leader to empower us because you knew what made us tick and what really we were passionate about. Do you happen to remember what those questions were that you asked each of us?
I do. And actually, I'm looking at them right now. So I kind of called it an agenda, but I don't know that it was really an agenda, but I did. I wanted to meet with everybody and just find out more about them. So the basics of what I said is I wanted to know their proudest moment from the past year. I wanted to know what they're looking forward to in this coming school year. I also wanted to understand better their professional goals, short and long term. And I also said that if your professional goals are beyond this department and this work, I'm okay with that because I really am interested in what you're striving for. I wanted to know a challenge they anticipate. And then I think probably my most insightful question was, I hope Jen knows. And I got so many different kinds of responses to that, but I think that was a really valuable thing because I'm not sure that people often think, I hope my boss knows this. So it really kind of opened the door to people sharing with me what they hope I know on a personal level, a professional level, all types of things. And I really valued the information that I got from that. And I'll probably do it again too. In fact, as I kind of have had some informal meetings with people, I actually saved the notes that I took on that. And when I do get a chance to meet with people, I'll pull it out and say, so you were looking forward to this. How's it going? That kind of a thing. So yeah, that's kind of an ongoing way to continue to get to know the staff.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. So yes, now we have those questions. If you want to, because this is a video, you could rewind and see them again as well. If you take notes on those, certainly a great way to get to know people and know how to empower them. The other piece that I heard you talk about earlier when you were sharing insight is the teamwork piece and the conversational capacity book that you mentioned. And I would agree. I'm reading it as well. And while it's not geared toward education, so to speak, it's got some great nuggets of wisdom in there. So I would certainly encourage others to read that as well. So Jen, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insight. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to let us know if there are is there additional information that people can find out about, books that have inspired you, blog posts, ways to contact you, if people have further questions.
Sure. Well, I do have a blog where I list all of those things. So that's at jenfrancone.weebly.com. So you're welcome to check out that. And those questions are listed there. And I am reviving my blog because I kind of took a long break, but I learn a lot through writing. So that's kind of how I'm going to be using my blog. So hopefully you'll see more posts there. Also, I would say if you're familiar with Brene Brown, and I don't think I have this on the blog yet, but I need to get there. But Brene Brown has some interesting pieces about empathy and blame and just communicating with people. She has some neat kind of TED Talk type things. I don't know if she actually has a TED Talk, but I've seen short video clips of some of her work as well. So I'll make sure I add that to the blog post for folks too. And then some other people that inspire me. Michael Fullan is a big inspiration. John Hattie is a big inspiration. Outside of education, I would say John Maxwell is a huge inspiration for me. I've read a lot of his books. And then Covey, Stephen Covey, those types of books as well. I find that I learn a lot about leadership looking outside of education as well. I've been so focused on education for so long. And then when I look outside of education and just read books about good leadership, there are so many lessons to be learned, no matter what kind of leadership you're in. So those are a few.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate your time. I want to thank you for sharing some insight with us. And be sure to connect with Jen, follow her. She's listed on our Site Leaders Connect database. So definitely follow her. And thank you again, Jen, for being here. And hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you for having me.